Like a child, you wanna keep it, but your shiny eyes reveal the simple truth.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Daytona. This is a 1-hour race today. It's a casual race, not part of a championship, and World Pro Racing has a supreme one stored up for us today. Welcome, one and all. We hope you enjoy it. We are on the rFactor 2 platform, and this treacherous and very unusual Daytona Roval course, road/oval, has Well, we've got a lot of action ahead of us. As I said, currently we're in practice with a few minutes to go until qualifying, and I recognise quite a few of these names here. I'm not entirely sure how many of these have raced with World Pro Racing before. Definitely most of them. Although we also have some brand new names to look out for as well. Quiricher Masafra is brand new, as is GZ Tonshar. Or Tonsha, indeed. Alessandro Verni hasn't raced with World Pro Racing before, and I think there may be some other drivers here that haven't before either. But whatever the case, many recognizable names, of course. Nathan Mifsud, he is a regular with us. And if you're looking at regulars on rFactor 2 in general, you have to look at Nico Barclay, Borja Milan, and of course, Chris Shepherd, who's actually just left the server, so hopefully he can make it back again. And currently top of the times, very interestingly, is Michael Fulcher, who I haven't seen racing in a very long time, but I have raced against in the past, over 2 years ago now, so great to see him again. And hopefully he's as quick as I remember him. Well, currently at the top of the time, so obviously still has it. Vlad Tokarev currently in second position, locking up down into to turn 1. Not bad from him either. That's a name that I recognise. The car for today is a car that you don't normally see racing at Daytona. It's a unique challenge, one that these drivers probably haven't had to deal with in the past. It is a Nissan Super GT car, specifically a GT 500 spec machine. And yeah, that's quite unusual. I haven't seen many or any leagues running this in the past, for that matter. But it's quite a machine, pretty similar to DTM spec if you're more familiar with the European side of racing. In fact, Super GT and DTM are going to do a crossover series in the future. I believe DTM and Super GT, rather, they're not doing a crossover series, but they're going to be running on the same regulations. But anyway, Super GT 5000, or 500, sorry. A step up from the Super GT 300, which is very much GT3 pace, and you should be seeing some very high speeds today, as well as some high cornering speeds, because these cars have supreme aerodynamic efficiency. 185 miles per hour I've just witnessed Nico Barclay doing, 186 in fact, as he breaks down towards turn 1. So that shows you just how fast these cars can get. Let's watch Nico Barclay as he takes us around a lap. We've already been through turn 1, which is tricky because you're coming off a bank, and that can often unsettle the car, especially if you haven't got the setup right. There's the international horseshoe. He's just exited that. That's a difficult one, because on the exit, if you get a wheel into the grass, the car can spin or go slippering straight on. Past the kink, you've got to set yourself up for turn 5, and it's a longer one than you expect. The apex isn't very consistent, and as a result, you can't really hold it there. You have to make sure you know exactly what point you're aiming for. Turn 6 brings you out now, back onto the banking, the speedway, which you'll be familiar with if you've ever watched the Daytona 500. This is the very same oval. And this is a great slipstreaming potential. You'll see a lot of overtaking on the banks today, much as we did at the real life Daytona 24 Hours, which just went by this past weekend. Through the bus stop, this is one of the most dangerous sequences of corners in American racing. If you get it wrong there, you are likely to end up in the barriers. Of course, we had a Mustang that ended up on its roof there in the support categories for the Daytona 24 Hours. We also had a collision between a couple of prototypes in the same race, and once you've done that, you accelerate out and past the tri-oval, past the grandstands, and across the line. That was a lap of the Daytona International Raceway, and actually Nico Barclay's fastest lap so far as well, a 1:37.412, and that puts him over 1.8 seconds out of Vlad Tokarev in third. So obviously drivers really starting to set up for their qualifying laps now. I reckon some of them would have been setting up for race stinting before, and that's shown by the fact that only 2 drivers, Boy Milan and Nico Barclay, have actually set laps under 1:39. They're both in the 1:37s, so I'm expecting qualifying to be a lot closer to the sorry, a lot closer together. I was just distracted because we've had a message from the server saying there's going to be a slight delay as the server is going to be reloaded. There was a mistake in the settings, but that's okay. It shouldn't be delayed by too much at all. I've also noticed that Chris Shepherd is back in, so that's good to see. Chris Shepherd, he left the server, but he is back. He's currently in 9th position. Although one driver who is missing still is Michael Fulcher, and that's a shame because Vulture, of course, was the fastest not long ago. So, yeah, hopefully he can make it back. I expect. Not entirely sure what lap time he'd set, but yeah, Vulture. It'd be disappointing if he couldn't make the race start. Still, we've got 13 entries. That's really not a bad entry list, especially at Daytona. And I'm sure that whatever happens, we still have a thrilling race ahead of us. Of course, it's 1 hour long, and I'm not expecting these cars to be able to go that distance without making a pit stop, because, of course, this circuit is very fast. You've got a lot of straights. You're on the throttle most of the time, and as a result, yeah, I don't think these cars are going to have the fuel tanks required, and maybe the tires too, in order to go the full distance. Sorry, I've got hiccups quickly. So as a result, we'll be seeing some strategy coming into to play most likely, and then of course we're going to potentially have an extra detail of can drivers double stack tires maybe, or double stint tires, or are they going to have to make a tire change partway through the race as well? All of this will soon become clear, of course, because this isn't a series. They haven't raced these cars before against each other. They don't know exactly what the other drivers around them are going to do, but yeah, they'll have a pretty good idea by now as they've been practicing. Michael Fulcher has rejoined the server, so that is good to see. And he is in the 138. So we do have 3 drivers under 139s. Again, I'm expecting this to be a lot closer in qualifying, but we shall see. So as the checkered flag comes out on practice, we're going to reload the server and switch to an image quickly, and we will be right back with qualifying. But anyway, that's going to be taking place in a few short minutes' time. Daytona, of course, it opened in the 1960s, if I remember correctly. I may have just got that completely wrong. It was originally meant for NASCAR racing, although they did build the Roval, so the infield course as well, quite early on in its use, and it's been hosting the Daytona 24 Hours for many a year. It's become a real classic event, and one with plenty of prestige around it. I have a couple of friends who have been to it plenty of times, and I'm very much jealous of them. Just trying to find out exactly when it started. 1966 was the first official Daytona 24 Hours. There had previously been a Daytona 2000, which would have taken probably about maybe 18 or 19 hours. And there was also a Daytona 3-hour race on the Roval, which took place before that as well. So anyway, we'll see if we can get back into the server quickly. I expect we'll be waiting for everyone before qualifying starts. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. And then we shall see these GT 500 cars roaring away, all of the horsepower unleashed. And lap times here, not entirely sure what to expect. Yesterday I was watching some GTE racing here, and the fastest qualifying laps were late 133s. Now, I'm not sure how Super GT cars match up against GTEs. They're probably a bit slower, but not really by that much. So possibly 135s or 136 in qualifying. Of course, we saw 137s in practice, although again, I'm expecting drivers to be even quicker and even closer in qualifying. So I don't think that I don't think that I don't think we've seen the fastest time. I don't think that 126s are unlikely. and that's what we're going to be looking out for. My apologies, actually, they weren't doing 133s yesterday. Those were the LMP2 cars. My mistake. Yeah, there were LMP2 cars as well. Yeah, I got that completely wrong. GTEs yesterday were managing, I think it was 140s maybe. So that would make these cars even faster than GTEs. That's impressive. Yeah, indeed. Late 140, almost 141. So indeed, these cars faster than GTEs. Now that's very impressive. Wasn't expecting to see lap times like that today, but anyway. Of course, these cars used to racing on much shorter Japanese circuits. Japanese circuits, they tend to be twistier. They tend to have less room for overtaking. They tend to be narrower as well. So it's interesting to see them so fast on a power course, but I suppose these cars were meant to be fast. But yeah, Daytona, of course, very fast circuit, built for slipstreaming. Not expecting quite as much slipstreaming with this as we saw yesterday, or as I saw, sorry, yesterday with the GTE race that I was watching. But still plenty of it. They're certainly going to be able to have good challenges in the braking zones. Of course, the formula for overtaking is long straights followed by heavy braking zones, and that is very much what you get with Daytona. Of course, you have heavy braking zones at not only turn 1 coming off the banking, but also at the International Horseshoe. Turns 5 and 6 also fairly heavy braking zones, although more difficult places to overtake due to the nature of the corners. Same goes for the bus stop. But as soon as you get back past those first few corners again, it is completely on, and you can really go for it. I think the main challenges to look out for, apart from strategy, clearly, are going to be the bus stop. A lot of drivers get over the curbs at the bus stop, and that is not really a good idea. It needs to be done, but if you get too hard over the curbs, it can often spin the cars around. You also have to be careful about, on the infield section, tagging the grass in the braking zones, because I tell you what, these cars will not be happy if you do that. Tire wear may come into play as well. I'm not entirely sure. No pun intended with entirely. But anyway, not sure how good these tires actually are in terms of their durability. But again, I'm sure that we will soon be about to find out. And in qualifying as well, you can very easily get a bad qualifying position if you find yourself with some clean air. And as a result, I think quali will probably be a lot about timing. It'll be a lot about finding yourself in a position on track where you don't get held up by other cars, but you do get aided by them. Very much like as if we were racing a Monza, for example, or even an oval, if you took into account, or if you removed, sorry, the single car qualifying. And this track, of course, feels like a speedway in a lot of places, mainly because it is one. So in just a couple of minutes' time, we're going to be seeing the drivers out on track. As we were saying before, the drivers to look out for Milan was extremely quick, as was Nico Barclay. Both of those have GPVWC experience. They've been all over rFactor 2. I've raced with both of them in the past, and also Michael Fortier as well. He has Czech Flag Endurance Group experience. I once beat him in a race. That was actually my very first sim racing win. So yeah, my apologies. Whatever the case, he is also extremely fast, and I'm also expecting to see him challenging for the win here. in the early stages of the race, it's going to be difficult for drivers to actually break away from the pack. Of course, a lot of the time in racing, you see one driver gaining the early advantage, and then the race evolving from there. But in this, you just won't see that because the slipstream is so effective. Even in cars that don't tend to get much of a slipstream, you can really benefit from it here, and everyone knows that. It may even be that being in first place is not necessarily always an advantage, because of course the drivers behind will be getting an easier tow. Interestingly, qualifying I think has started. I'm not sure if this is official qualifying or not, but anyway, we've gained a driver, so we're on 15 drivers now, and this is official qualifying. Okay, I believe the driver we gained is Alessio Spinelli, because I don't think I saw him in practice, although I may be completely wrong. Anyway, currently top of the times, Nico Barclay, 138.332. Chris Shepherd is second with a 138.603. Michael Fulcher third, 138.694. We've seen lap times faster than all of those, and I'm expecting the times to continue to tumble. Boa Milan is fourth, but he's about to cross the line, does not improve on his time. Alessio Spinelli is in fifth position, the driver who did not take part in practice. Being warned that the tyre wall at turn 1 may be a little problem, and to be honest, I agree with that, because if you look at the turn 1 tyre wall, it comes right out towards the circuit, almost touches the circuit. It's directly on the inside. The drivers want to cut that corner as much as they possibly can, but these cars do have quite a lot of overhang on the front, so you have to be really careful with that. You have to know exactly where your wheels are, and I have to say, all throughout official or unofficial practice, I did see drivers tagging that wall and and spinning around. So yeah, that may well end up being an issue, or at least something the drivers have to be careful of. Kiricho Masafra there jumped up to 6th position on that last lap. Shepard's in the pits. He's just exiting it now to go on to another flying lap. We still have 3 drivers who have not yet set flying laps. Those are Nathan Mifsud, Vlad Tokarev, and Turka Hakkinen. But all 3 of those are currently on laps. Vlad Tokarev goes 5th. Not a bad opening lap from him. Jolly good. So puts his car to 5th position immediately. Next driver to set his first flying lap, I think, will be Nathan Mifsud. That is providing he's on an out lap here. Can't guarantee that he is, but as he crosses the line, we're about to find out. He goes 6th. Meanwhile, Boha Milan, in his slipstream, gets the fastest lap of all, and he's immediately been beaten there by Nico Barclay, who didn't have a slipstream, at least at the end of the lap there. So Barclay with a wonderful lap. Also great lap from Milan as well, and that's how the order is at the minute. Barclay from Milan, and then Shepherd, Fulcher, and Tokarev. Fulcher's car, I believe, is having a little skin issue there. I think we were trying to sort that out before, but anyway, Nathan Mifsud now going for a spin on his next lap. Turka Hakkinen, the only driver yet to set a flying lap, but he's on one now, and I'm expecting this one to be relatively fast, maybe about 6th or 7th from the looks of it. Through the bus stop he goes. Over the curb on the exit, keeps all four wheels within the lines there. Now he just has this one last corner to go. Of course, one thing these drivers do not have to worry about, which a lot of other drivers who race at Daytona do, is traffic. Since there are only 15 cars here, so the track's not too congested, and it's only single class as well. Turka Hakkinen did better than I expected with that lap. 138.193, very nice from Hakkinen there. And jumps ahead of Shepherd and Fulcher. Fulcher not long before the end of his lap, so he may be about to improve as well, although doesn't have a significant slipstream. Not many of these drivers have done yet, but I think it's anyway. Fulcher through the final couple of or the final corner, in his Nissan Super GT 500 car. Nico Barclay in the pits. I wonder whether he thinks he's done enough, or whether he's setting up for one final run. I doubt he thinks he's done enough because Milan's so close to him, and Vulture's just got within half a second as well. Vulture 138.076 puts his car third, and I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Vulture there would be able to get into that top two if he was able to get a significant tow from an outlapping or inlapping car. But anyway, if he can get that, then we'll see. Just trying to work out who's on flying laps at the time. I think Turkka Hakkinen might be going for a second one in a row, and he does have a slight distant tow there from someone as well. So this could be one to look out for Hakkinen. Crossing the line. Goes third again, not bad. So Turkka Hakkinen, the third driver into the 137s. 137.961 from Turkka at the minute. And jumps ahead of Vulture. Vulture comes back out of the pits now. He's got Chris Shepherd in hot pursuit. I wonder if Shepherd was waiting for him to see if he could stick with him and get a tow. I'd be surprised if Vulture doesn't try to shake him on this outlap. But anyway, the two of them going for fourth in the order or higher. And we'll see what they can do in just a few minutes time. Hakkinen going for another lap, it seems, and that may end up being a good idea because he's got another driver right in front of him. And that could be a good opportunity to get a slipstream and a faster lap here. He only needs to find 0.3 of a second in order to go to the top of the times. It's a pretty quick driver in front of him as well. I'm trying to work out who that is. Might be Nathan Mifsud. It's not Nathan Mifsud. I think it's Mikkel Parry. Yeah, it's Mikkel Parry. So Mikkel Parry currently running in 11th position, and Hakkinen just about fast enough to catch up to him to take full effect of his slipstream. That was really good for Turkka Hakkinen there. Through the tri-oval, this is going to be good, and it's no improvement. I am surprised by that. He was almost 0.2 down, and I was half expecting to see him go half a second ahead of anyone else there. But anyway, pulls off, and that will be the end of his qualifying session because there simply isn't enough time. Oh, that was careful. Needed to be. Well, I thought he might spin back onto the road there, but anyway, he was safer than that. But yeah, that's going to be the end of his session. Another driver who's not going to get a lap, Alessio Spinelli. He's just been for a little Spinelli at turn 1, and won't be going any faster. Turkka Hakkinen, of course, in the pit, as is Vlad Tokarev. Spinelli is exiting the pits. Now that's bizarre because he's not going to get enough time to go for another lap. So I wonder if he's either going out there to help out a friend, or if he's going out there just in order to get track experience, or maybe he doesn't know that the session is over. But anyway, Vulture is well and truly in the slipstream of Chris Shepherd here, although he's going to be affected by it in the infield section. I think they might both be affected by it here because Vulture, of course, will be getting all of the dirty air, but Chris Shepherd will be being distracted. And we'll have to see. We've just had a warning from the race steward, Adrian Figallo, saying, "Dear all, please take care of the bus stop chicane." Good reminder, it's a difficult one, of course. And if you try to go too wide in there, then you can often have an incident like the one we saw Harry Tincknell and Elio Castroneves having at the weekend. Purely just drivers misreading each other because of how fast and technical that bus stop chicane is. Right, checkered flag coming out on the qualifying session. Can anyone improve? Vulture's going to be the first driver to cross the line after Shepherd. I think Shepherd actually stands a better chance of improving than Vulture does. Shepherd does improve, he goes fourth. Vulture does not improve. That's not a surprise, although he was only 1/10 down. on his lap. Borja Milan is yet to set his final lap. Nico Barkley is 0.6 of a second ahead of anyone else with his last lap, 1:37.067. That is a wonderful, wonderful lap time. This is going to be tough to beat from Borja Milan. I think he might have a distant slipstream, although it's very distant, probably not affecting him much there, as he is about to cross the line. Check a flag out for him. Oh, does improve, but stays second. It's a 1:37.357. Nice attempt there. He was less than 0.3 of a second behind Nico Barkley, but just misses out on a chance of going again for pole position. Still drivers yet to cross the line. First of those is going to be Alessandro Verni, trying to move himself up from 7th position. Needs to find less than 1/10 of a second to pass Spinelli, and he does so. So that's 6th position for Alessandro Verni. Michael Parry is going to be the next driver to cross the line, and the final driver, since Jana Titus is in the pits. And Parry is trying to go for a position higher than 12th. Across the line he goes, stays 12th. So that is the finish of the qualifying session. Barkley takes pole, followed by Milan, Hakkinen, Shepard, Fulcher, Verni, Spinelli, Tokarev, Mifsud, Rizzo, Massafra, Parry, Titus, Tuncha, and Alberto Sartori, the final of the 15 drivers. So I believe we're just going for a quick advert break. We are indeed, and we will be right back for the race start.
Like a child, you wanna keep it, but your shiny eyes reveal the simple truth.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Welcome back to Daytona, everyone. We just have a few minutes to go before the start of the race, and we've just seen the qualifying session completed. The first row of the grid is going to be Borja Milan and Nico Barclay. And Nico Barclay just typed in the chat, actually, long first gear, avoid me at the start. So obviously Nico feels that he's going to drop back on the launch, and that could be something to look out for. Of course, it's a short run here to turn 1, which may be one of the reasons he feels comfortable going for a long first gear, although doesn't, well, whatever the case, he's going to potentially struggle to hold positions at the start. Potentially will gain them back again towards the end of the first lap, though, because of course you do have all of that slipstream when the cars are bunched up, and you get onto those long straights towards the end of the lap. But anyway, we shall see what happens. For all he knows, and for all we know, everyone could be running very similar or vastly different setups. But anyway, just 2.5 minutes to go now until the warm-up session is completed, and then we will get going for the start of the 1 hour long race. Expecting some pit strategy in this. We don't think the drivers can make it the entire way through. I'd be pretty shocked if they did. Very fast lap times too. These cars can go almost 3 seconds faster around here than the fastest GTEs, which is extremely impressive if you ask me. Almost prototype car pace. And it's going to be an exhilarating one. Mark my words. This track has everything that it takes to be one. Prestige, slipstream, straights, heavy braking zones, fast, difficult corners as well, especially with the bus stop. It's a circuit that I've raced at before. I didn't go particularly well here. Mainly because it's so different to the other tracks, and it's so difficult to get the setup right and to know exactly where to position your car. But once you get the hang of it, it's rewarding. Hello? Okay, I think I'm back. Jolly good. Okay, so I'm just gonna log back into the server. Got my internet crash out of the way. Knew that would happen at some point today. It does tend to, sadly. Yeah, my new internet not the best. But anyway, rushing back into the server to see if I can make the start. My sincerest apologies if I can't. Sadly, rFactor 2 does take longer to load up after a crash usually. But anyway, I will do my absolute best to bring a race for you, and even if I don't make it back in time, I will watch the start on a bit of a delay on the YouTube stream in order to just kind of give an update on what's going on. But anyway, sometimes these things happen and can't be helped. We were having issues or skin error issues that were taking place through our qualifying, and delayed that by about a minute or so. But anyway, we should be good to go soon. We've got checkered flag on the warm-up session. Should be a few minutes still before the start. I hope so anyway. And these drivers were actually practicing the race start not too long ago. They had it. My apologies. They had a full test start, so I don't really have much excuse for things going wrong here. But anyway, so a couple of minutes now for them to line up on the grid, and then we can get underway for an hour's worth of racing at the prestigious Daytona Roval circuit. So, hope you're all enjoying this. We're live as usual on YouTube, Facebook, and probably Twitch as well. So if any of those, or so whichever of those you prefer, you can watch along, and I'm sure that you will enjoy this this race. Now, I will probably miss the restart here, which is a shame. Yeah, my apologies about that, but anyway, on the stream I can see that when the race started, there was indeed, there was a bit of a slow start from one of the drivers on the front row of the grid, and that was indeed, okay, so that was not Nico Barkley? No, it wasn't. I think Turka Hakkinen may have got a poor start, dropping back through the field. There's a little bit of contact. Someone spun around at the back. There was actually a couple of cars that spun around at the back. And of course, you've all seen this about 25 seconds ago, so my apologies for telling you things you already know. Andrea Rizzo was one of them, so he's going to be coming through the field later on in the race. Barkley actually really didn't have the long first gear that he was talking about. He's leading the race, so Nico Barkley there with a good start, possibly to his surprise as well, and it was indeed Turka Hakkinen that got the poor start and got balked a bit in the pack, got battered around a little bit further back, and he has some ground to make up. So as they come towards the end of the first lap, they may have already completed it, I don't know. Nico Barkley leads them across the line over the banking. No, it's not that. Sorry, just trying to sort out some issues there. But anyway, Barkley leads from Verini. Amazing start from Verini. He started about 6th or 7th, if I remember correctly. I may be getting that wrong, but he's made a wonderful start. He's up to 2nd place, but he's fighting hard with Spinelli. Then we have Mifsud, who's also made a great start. Chris Shepard is 5th. No, he's not, because he's been passed by Bore Milan. Bellini and Spinelli went side by side through turn 1. Barkley already building out a lead in all of that. Bore Milan, of course, another of the drivers who got a very bad start. He dropped down further through the field than he would have liked. He's in 4th position after starting right at the front. Hakkinen's got back past Michael Fulcher, so that's a change of places. And he's also just got past Chris Shepherd as well. So Hakkinen there making up places. And a couple of changes further down. I believe Alberto Sartori was the other driver involved in the incident at the start. He's a long way back. And Karicho Hasafra has also had problems in the early stages. So those are the 3 drivers affected, but I think that all of them are still on the road. From what I can see, they are anyway. Vellini and Spinelli still fighting over 2nd place. They just went side by side through the bus stop. Not entirely sure just yet who got out in front, but I'm sure that you can see that on your screen. Kicking up the dirt as they went through there and over the banking. Fastest lap from Nico Barkley. That's to be expected. That's the 2nd lap of the race, and Nico pulling out the gap for the lead. Still got side by side further back in the order, and I have managed to join the service, so that's a positive sign. So Arturi is exiting the pits as I look. So we still do have 15 drivers in the race, and the order is Barkley, Spinelli. Well, his name's not Vellini, it's Verni. So my apologies for calling him Vellini so often. I'm sure does it say? It might say 2 different things. No, I think I'm just trying to make excuses up now. But anyway, Verni. My apologies to Verni there. Currently running in 3rd position, but under attack from pole sitter Borja Milan. Michael Fulcher is 5th, then it's Nathan Nifsud, Vlad Tokarev, Chris Shepherd, Mikkel Parry, and Jonah Titus, the top 10. Milan now in the slipstream of Verni, not Vellini, going to the right-hand side. That's the higher part of the trioval, and they will be the better line for the braking zone at turn 1. We're going almost 3 wide. Michael Fulcher trying to get involved as well. Little lock up from Verni. Takes a sniff of the grass on the inside and holds his position on the inside of Milan. Milan will still be there though as they head towards the International Horseshoe. Shows him he's still there by sticking his nose through. And Milan gets the place. That was brave driving from both of them, but Milan slightly braver, slightly more technical. Gets it done. Fulcher now coming through on the outside of the kink. It's a tricky place to pull a move, but they get away with it. So Verni 4th, Fulcher 5th. That could all change again. Big slide there from Vlad Tokarev as they went out of turn 5. And on to the banking again. Yeah, that was him just getting a bit out of shape in the slipstream in the dirty air of Nathan Mifsud's car ahead. Now, this fight surely going to change. Milan, Verni and Fulcher fighting together. They've dropped 5 seconds behind the leaders. Barkley and Spinelli still in their own little world there. And Fulcher not able to get past Verni. In that, Tokarev did get past Mifsud, but overshot it, went through the grass slightly. Mifsud back through into 6th place. Fulcher now going around the outside of Verni again. And will have the advantage in the braking zone for turn 1, providing he can hold it there, providing he has the speed. Oh, he's through already. So Fulcher very fast in a straight line. That was unexpectedly so. And Verni not able to come back in, so that's the move. Oh, and Fulcher locks up, runs a little bit wide, but that's okay. Almost banging wheels. Nathan Mifsud and Chris Shepherd in the background. Through the pits comes Jonah Titus. And has he got damage on his car? I think his steering is hanging slightly, although I think he's gone straight through the pits. So was that potentially a drive-through for a jump start, maybe? Oh no, it was assigned by the live steward. So there was a drive-through penalty assigned to Jonah Titus, and that is probably for the starting incident, I would wager, the one that took place on the opening lap of the race. But anyway, Borja Milan and Michael Fulcher still fighting. Fulcher taking a look. I think it would have been a little bit silly to have gone through there, because that would have brought Verni right back on his tail, and Fulcher knew that, so he backed off, and now he's going to go for it again with the slipstream, with the toe on the banking. We've seen already that Fulcher is very fast in a straight line. Yeah, look at that. Definitely a top speed advantage. Of course, he's helped by the slipstream, but even when he pulls out of the slipstream, Michael Fulcher, is he going to break? Oh, contact! And somehow they both stay on the road. That was great driving from both of them there to stay on the road. Fulcher, of course, he was fully ahead of Milan there. He was fully ahead of him as they went into the braking zone. Milan just tagged the back of his car, but did very well to keep it out of the grass. He has now been passed by Verny, as expected from all of that. But actually, Verny losing speed on the straight. Milan keeping that 4th place. That could have been a lot worse there. Oh, Tokarev's going wide. Tokarev's going for a little half spin. Tokarev is pointing well, he's perpendicular to the track, trying to rejoin. That's a dangerous place to do it. Come on, get reverse. You've got a lot of space to do it. We've got a live penalty. So we've got a penalty, a drive-through assigned to Turka Hakkinen. And that was not for that incident because, that was Nathan Mifsud who got into the back of Tokarev there. Hakkinen has been given a penalty for a different incident that I don't think I saw. That would have happened relatively recently, but not sure exactly when. The stewards have reviewed it, and well done to the race stewards. It's great to have them on board so that we don't have to wait for after the race for the result to be declared. We can get it done much nicer and cleaner while the race is actually going on, and to be honest, that keeps everyone more happy than the alternative. But anyway, side by side now, Hakkinen and Parry. However, of course, Hakkinen still has a drive-through to take, and I think Parry knows that. He'd have seen it in the chat, and he didn't put up too much of a fight against Hakkinen. Of course, Hakkinen now has to just push as hard as he can to not lose too much from that penalty. He knows he's not fighting these guys for position. He's going to have to take that drive-through in the next 3 laps or so. Well, 3 laps, and in he comes. So he's going to drop further. Oh, and actually he's stopped. And he's retired. So Turka Hakkinen there, first retirement, and that was not due to damage. That was simply frustration there. Didn't like the fact he'd been given a drive-through and decided that he'd had enough. That was it. Over. Chris Shepherd has had a big slide there through turn 1, and he did catch it, but he had to slow the car right down in the process, and he was passed by Michael Parry. So Parry up to 6th place, Shepherd down to 7th in all of that, and that is how the race is at present. So I want to look back quickly and see if I can work out what Turka Hakkinen got the penalty for. It wasn't that race he had there with Michael Parry, because there was no contact and all of that. It may have been something that happened on the very first lap of the race, but sadly I can't go back far enough to confirm that. But anyway. Nathan Mifsud has now been given a penalty, and he is arguing in the chat that he gave the position back. So I presume that he cut the chicane, the bus stop, and gave the position back. Didn't gain advantage, but has been given a penalty anyway. So the stewards may well review that. I'm not sure what's going on with that at the minute. I can't speak for the stewards. I'm sure that they're going to make the right decision anyway. But yeah, for now, the latest word is that Nathan Mifsud has a penalty but is protesting it. Unusual to see drivers protesting penalties while the race is still going on. Easy to lose concentration. I remember one race I had with a friend of mine not long ago where he saw another driver cutting corners, complained about it in the chat, and as he was complaining about it, ran off the road and hit the wall. But anyway, Shepherd there, another little slide. I don't think he has the car set up exactly to his liking. He's been a little bit twitchy. He's been very fast. We saw in... well, actually, I don't think he's been as fast as he would have liked. He was relatively fast. I think he was 5th maybe in qualifying. But now running in 7th and twitching about through a couple of corners. We saw him have that big slide a few I think it may have been last lap, in fact. Meanwhile, Alessio Spinelli is catching Nico Barclay. Now that's for the lead of the race, of course. Barclay has led right from the get-go, and Alessio Spinelli, who started from 6th on the grid, or maybe 7th, has been absolutely flying in these early stages, and is less than a second behind Nico Barclay as we speak. So we could well have a battle for the lead brewing here. Indeed, less than 9/10 of a second as they cross the start-finish line. To the braking zone for turn 1. Spinelli appeared to be gaining time there, although looks can be deceiving when it comes to the braking zones due to the accordion effect. But yeah, Spinelli really starting to charge now. Luckily, he's replaced the livery that was going a little bit derpy for him. And could well be in with a chance of winning this race here, although, of course, unexpected speed in the early stages is often an indication of unusual or unfavourable strategy decisions. Maybe he's underfielded or something. Meanwhile, GZ Tansha made a slight mistake, ran a little bit wide. Yona Titus got through into 10th position. So that's a little change there. Oh, and Spinelli's off! Spinelli's off the road! I may have cursed it there. And he did not make contact with anyone. He just understeered off the road, tapped the tyre wall, and around he went. It wasn't big contact with the tyre wall. I don't think he'll have damage. Oh, he already had damage, I think. Unless he really did pick up that damage from hitting the wall. But Spinelli, who was possibly... And he did pick up that damage from hitting the wall. Looked like the tiniest of taps, but that's going to ruin his race. Oh no, it was a faster tap than I expected, looking back at it. And Alessio Spinelli there, who could have won the race, certainly was in contention for it, has had it all taken away from him cruelly. Although you have to say it was his own fault. But yeah, that is a shame from Spinelli there. Dropping down the order, and he's going to have to come into the pits. That is far too much suspension damage to drive safely on the ovals. His steering wheel is almost 90 degrees to the right. And that is never a good position to be in, turning left when you're steering right. Anyway, Spinelli into his pit box, and that is his competitive race done. May still finish the race, of course, but certainly won't be competitive and fighting for the lead anymore. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that and see if he rejoins. 13 cars still on track, 14 possibly still in the race. That incident elevates Michael Fulcher to second place. He's 3.846 seconds behind Nico Barclay, to be precise, in the last checkpoint. And that takes some real pressure off of Nico Barclay. While Milan is currently third, so he's been elevated up into a podium position in all of this, after starting on pole and dropping back at the beginning. Alessandro Verni fourth, Miguel Parry up to fifth, but he is still being hounded by Chris Shepherd, and that may well be the closest fight on track at this particular point in time. The field starting to spread out for the first time, although Shepherd, closing in on Parry. He made a mistake earlier on to drop behind him, and now with the slipstream is gunning for it. There's still no word on the Nathan Mifsud penalty. I don't think he's taken it. Oh, he's taking it now. So Mifsud is going to take his penalty, and he will feel aggrieved by that. That's not a penalty. He stopped in his box. He's posted an ellipsis in the chat, so obviously he doesn't quite understand what's going on here. Maybe he thought it was a drive-through penalty, or maybe he's just been involved in an incident or something. His steering definitely appeared to be slightly damaged as he was pitting. Still, he's got the he's in his pit box, exiting it now, And that wasn't a drive-through, so I expect his penalty will still be valid, sadly. Unless he took it on lap 6. He had an uncharacteristically slow lap on lap 6. But that wasn't due to a drive-through. That was probably due to the incident in the first place. I'll just look back to see what happened at the bus stop that time around. No, surprisingly, that wasn't the case. Okay, so some mystery going on in terms of Nathan Mifsud's race at the minute. May still have to come into the pits again unless the stewards remove his penalty, since he appeared to have taken a stop-go for some weird reason. But again, not entirely sure what's going on with that car. So all we can do at the minute is speculate. So remember, if you're enjoying this, to subscribe to our YouTube channel and support World Pro Racing on social media and in any way that you want to and can. We have presences on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, and we also have a Twitter account as well. So anyway, the race continues on its way. And yeah, actually, since the field is relatively spread out at the minute, I know we've still got that little battle there going on between Parry and Shepard, but they don't seem quite close enough to change yet. I think I will have a look back and see if I can work out exactly what's going on with Nathan Mifsud here, see if I can spot anything that he may have got a penalty for in the first place. Well, I think if it did happen, it was probably before I rejoined the server, so that's a little bit of a pain. May end up stopping me from working it out at all. No, I think what it was... Now, Tokarev, this was on lap 4. Tokarev went past Mifsud. Mifsud gave him a little tap in the bus stop, then went back through, and then Tokarev did gain the place back. Now, it's questionable whether Mifsud gained advantage from that or not. He did cost Tokarev a little bit of time, but not really that much. Well, of course, I'm only speculating here. I don't know for sure that is what he got the penalty for. And oh no, I think something else may have happened on lap 6 actually, because I've just got a brief glimpse of what may have occurred. No, okay, so I'm still confused by that, but anyway. I'm just gonna keep an eye on that and see what happens. Meanwhile, the gap between Parry and Shepard as they cross the line, less than 0.2 of a second. They were right together there, crossing the line that last time around. And now I think this is actually, I was gonna say this is gonna be Chris Shepard late there, coming out through turn 6. Quite a big twitch actually, onto the banking, which is going to cost him vital momentum and put him, well, maybe cost him a chance of passing Parry here. They do have some traffic coming up. That's Alberto Sartori. Sartori currently 2 laps down, but sure, Parry and Shepard can pass him cleanly. Shepard now going to the high line and straight past Mikkel Parry. They're not even going to race the trioval. So Shepard there, passing Parry up to 5th position. I think this is the highest that Shepard has been classified or raced. Indeed it is. He's been contact! Parry's punted him, but waits for him. That's sportsmanlike. Good for Parry. He knew that he punted him there and waited for him to rejoin. Didn't want to gain the position that way. And Shepard will be slightly agree. Tokarev's going round. Tokarev in the grass. Recovers it. Good save, although he's lost a lot of time from that. He was right on the back of Parry. Didn't touch him. It just looked like the weight transferred. Now, Mifsud is complaining that he still has a penalty, and indeed he does. That's because he took a stop-go when he had a drive-through, which is going to cost him. Yeah, now Titus back into the pits. Weird. And Titus took a drive-through. May have been one that the game gave him, because I don't see another drive-through from the stewards. Mifsud talking with the stewards now, trying to understand why he still has a penalty. It was clear from our point of view, but to be honest, that's a surprisingly easy mistake to make, misreading your penalty. In fact, it's one that I myself have made. A little bit embarrassed to admit that, but yeah, it's one of the most embarrassing mistakes when you take the wrong type of penalty. Of course, the rules say that when you do a drive-through, you're not allowed to stop in your box. You're not allowed to take on fuel, take on tires, anything like that. And clearly, that is something that Mifsud did, since otherwise he wouldn't have been able to stop in his box for that long. Definitely looked as if there was work going on the car, so the stewards have decided that he still has a penalty to serve. And Mifsud will be really frustrated by this point, I am sure. Michael Fulcher, meanwhile, has been pulling the gap in on Nico Barkley. So Fulcher may still be in with a chance at this race. And Titus into the pits again for the third time. And he came in last lap too for what appeared to be a drive-through. I do believe this is the third time he's been through. And it's another drive-through. He's driven through the pit lane 2 laps in a row. That's bizarre. Nathan Mifsud now serving his drive-through. He's going to use even more and probably even more patience. He says, am I still in the race then? Of course, the rules do say that you have to serve your penalty within 3 laps. We'll see what the stewards say about that. We've got a car stopped. Yana Titus has stopped. Now, something that I theorise may have happened here to Yana Titus, something that's happened to me in the past. Guys, I've had like 5 drive-thrus already, says Yana Titus. Okay, so he's been through the pits several times to serve a drive-through, and it's saying after X in the pits a new one will pop up. Maybe, well, that sounds like a glitch to me. It could be that he's speeding in the pits, although I think he'd notice if he had been. It could also be that he's serving the wrong type of penalty. Maybe he has a stop-go. So some bizarre things going on with penalties at the minute. Mifsud and Titus both being affected, and Titus there stopped for a really, really long time to try to get that sorted out, and he's going to have lost a lot of ground in all of that. Neither of those guys really in the race at the minute. Stewards saying to Yana, we assigned 1 drive-through penalty, and yet it seems that every time Yana Titus takes his penalty, another one pops up. So anyway, some issues going on, but the race still continues. We still have a fight between Tokarev and Parry now for 6th place. So Tokarev has recovered from that half spin and passed Mikkel Parry. That's for 6th position. Chris Shepard getting away from them a little bit. And the gap between the two of them as they cross the line, less than 8/10 of a second, so still a fight for that 6th place. Tokarev locking up slightly in turn 1. And I think that will give Parry a good run into the infield section. Doesn't look like an opportunity to pass necessarily, but we'll see what happens. So through the kink, And Fulcher is still gaining on Barclay. He's been putting in some flying laps recently. A 139.1 is his fastest lap. That's over 0.3 of a second faster than Barclay's. Actually, not quite, but very nearly. Really impressive lap time. Yana Titus is in the pits again. Stopping in his box. The drive-through penalty has been removed and he's out. So Yana Titus has decided that enough is enough. And to be honest, I don't blame him if that really was the issue that he was getting. But yeah, that is his day over. And very upsetting when something like that happens and you retire from the race. But anyway, 13 drivers still remaining. 8 of those on the lead lap. But still potentially some pit stops to occur. But Fulcher now less than 0.4 of a second behind Nico Barclay. And that's for the lead of the race, of course. So very, very close between the two of them. And now heading towards the slipstream zone. TM. They do have a back marker coming up. I think... Oh, is that Spinelli? Now that's going to really rub salt in the wounds for Spinelli. It is indeed Spinelli. And he himself will feel that... sorry. He will feel that he could have fought for the lead in this scrap. Well, he may well end up being involved in this scrap anyway, but not in the way that he would have wanted to be. Still, he'll need to obey the blue flags. This is a single-class race. Fulcher with the run. We've seen that Fulcher's fast in a straight line. Here he goes to the outside of Nico Barclay, up by the wall. This is for the lead of the race, and for the first time since the first lap of the race, the lead has changed. And for the first time at all, a driver other than Nico Barclay will lead the end of a lap. So Michael Fulcher is our second leader of the race. Nico Barclay drops to second. Now, can Fulcher pull away, or will the slipstream keep Barclay right with him? We are about to see. Barclay won't want to let him get too far ahead. He knows that if he does, that's his chance over. Now, I am slightly surprised that we've got this far in... Oh, well, just as I said that, I was going to say I'm slightly surprised we got this far into the race without a scheduled pit stop. Vlad Tokarev has stopped. Now, this is when I'd expect drivers to start making pit stops, so I think that's probably a scheduled one. Although I am surprised that we got this far in without drivers making some. So I'm wondering whether some drivers may either think they can go the full distance, or maybe they can. Again, I'd be surprised because I know that a GTE car couldn't quite. And I thought these cars would be a little bit more petrol hungry than a GTE. But anyway, Fulcher now right on the back of Spinelli. Touches the grass, goes all four wheels in the grass there, gets a bad run out of the bus stop. That was a mistake from Fulcher. Didn't quite allow for the loss of downforce by Spinelli's car. Barclay now going past Spinelli as well, still in the slipstream of Fulcher, but Fulcher's so fast in the straight line. We're also having a change now for fourth place. Shepard's past Verney. So Shepard gets past Verney. And that was done before the bus stop. So we've got a couple of fights now to keep an eye on track. Fulcher got a little bit out of shape through turn 1, but kept it all together. And yeah, it may well be that these drivers can go the full way, because I'm surprised we're not seeing any undercutting strategies here from drivers like Nico Barclay, or maybe Chris Shepard the previous lap. Or it may just be that drivers want to be running in traffic because of the slipstream here. I'm sure it will make itself clear as the race continues. Sorry that I can't be definite with you, but that's how racing goes sometimes, especially one-off races like this one. Of course, Tokarev did pit that, But will other people follow him in, or is that a unique strategy? Some GT cars can run an hour here. I remember doing a GT3 race here where me and my teammate were able to make the fuel last for over an hour. And I'm not entirely sure what the fuel consumption's like for a GT500 car, but if it's similar, there's no reason that they can't do the same thing here today as well. Although I do remember thinking that the reason we did an hour without stopping was that we were just too slow on that day. But anyway, so Fulcher already building out a lead from Nico Barkley here. 1.4 seconds as they cross the start-finish line that last time around. And Fulcher has the advantage quite considerably at this point in time. Shep getting away from Vernie as well. He's pulled out of that 1 second bubble. Of course, no DRS on these cars, so the 1 second bubble doesn't mean quite as much as it would in Formula 1, although still that is the optimum slipstreaming range. So, Fulcher and Barkley onto the banking again. We have 25 minutes remaining in this race, just over that until the checkered flag comes out. And at the end of that lap, the race will finish. Still a long way to go in this race. We're just over halfway, and at the just over halfway point in this race, we've got Michael Fulcher leading, followed by Nico Barkley. Then it's Borja Milan. Chris Shepherd is in 4th position, followed by Alessandro Verni, Nikhil Parry, Vlad Tokarev, GZ Tonsha, sorry. Nathan Mifsud is P9 after those penalties, and actually credit to him for continuing in this race. A lot of other drivers would have given up would have given up after all of that. Oh, and Fulcher's run wide there. Fulcher's run very wide at turn 1. And that's going to decrease his gap by probably about half a second. He locked up on the entrance to the corner and slithered off into the runoff area. May have even cost him about a second. We're about to see as they cross the next checkpoint. One of the only mistakes I've seen Michael Fulcher making all day. Apart from maybe at the start, didn't see exactly what happened, but anyway. So Fulcher and Barkley closer together. Can Barkley take advantage of this and use the slipstream to maybe get back at Michael Fulcher here? We're on to the back straight, slipstreaming time. We're also about to see the checkpoint time. Indeed, the gap came down by about maybe 7 or 8 tenths of a second in that. And he will definitely be getting a slipstream. I don't think it's going to be enough to get anywhere near close enough this time around. And Fulcher, so long as he hasn't been phased by that, so long as he hasn't had his rhythm thrown off, may well continue just as he was going before, pulling away. But again, we shall see. Coming up to turn 1 again, this is where he made the mistake last time around. We've got a back marker coming up. That is Kuriko Masafra. Fulcher keeping it within the lines this time. Meanwhile, Nikhil Parry there, passing Alessandro Verni into the bus stop. Makes it stick, so that's for 5th position. Verni now, Verni back in the slipstream. Surprised Parry caught him quite that quickly. He was a little way back last time I looked, but doing a great job is Nikhil Parry. Verni coming back at him, gets the overspeed, possibly in the limiter, crossing the start-finish line. 179 miles per hour. That's and he's going to the back of Parry, and Parry is spinning, and Parry is off the road. Verni continues. Will he wait for him? Verni continues. So the stewards will look into that, I'm sure. And for my money, Parry was holding a normal line. I didn't zone or doing anything unusual. Vernie just misjudged the braking zone, slammed on the anchors, and into the back of him he went. And that's going to cost Parry some time, and it's going to cost him that position unless Vernie decides to give the place back. But anyway, I do think we may be seeing some stewarding action there, but you know, don't want to speak for the stewards. Again, they do a great job, and we are very grateful for their participation. But Vernie 5th for the time being. After that, and Vulture's in the pits, so it does appear that these drivers are going to be making pit stops. I presume, anyway. Masafra is also in the pits. This is much later than I expected the pit stops to happen. Vulture X in the pits now, and I wonder whether he was pulling away from Barkley so much because Barkley was saving fuel in order to go the full way. It could well be that Vulture, and possibly as well Spinelli in the early stages, were so unexpectedly fast and passed Barkley so easily because they knew they'd have to stop. Let's keep an eye on that. The gap for the lead now is 17.8 seconds. Nico Barkley leading for Milan. That's the front row of the grid in qualifying too. Michael Fulcher 3rd, Chris Shepard 4th. Those are the 4 drivers I told you to look out for in qualifying. Or in practice, rather. Anti-Smarty Pants. Alessandro Vernie is in 5th position. Masafra now has dropped to 12th. Alberto Sartori, meanwhile, has retired from the race not too long ago. And that's because he caught fire. That's never healthy. Yeah, the engine completely blew on him. And yeah, that is our 3rd retirement of the race. So 12 cars still on track. And let's hope the 12 cars finish. We've still got 16 minutes. Or 10 minutes, sorry. 20 minutes. Goodness, make your mind up. We've still got 20 minutes of this race remaining. Milan with some traffic. That's who is that there? Down to turn 1. Ooh, not moving out of the way very quickly, is he? Milan flashing his lights at him. Now he goes through, and we've had a drive-through penalty for Alessandro Vernie, and that is for Vernie driving into the back of Michael Parry, and I think that was the right decision. So Alessandro Vernie will have to make a drive-through penalty from 5th position. Parry will gain 5th position back, and he will feel very pleased with that. Nothing against Alessandro Vernie, of course. It's an easy mistake to make, just locking up the brakes and going into the back of someone, especially in a heavy braking zone after a long straight, when you have the slipstream, when you have the dirty air. The other factor to consider is how bumpy the track is down there as well. And yeah, as a result, well, you can blame Vernie for that. You can't really put too much slack on him for it, because you know, everyone makes that mistake at some point. Everyone has that accident. I have it far too often, in my opinion. But anyway. Meanwhile, Vernie has... Well, did he take the drive-through there, or did he just give the place back to Parry on track? Because if he gave the place back to Parry on track, he will still need to serve the drive-through. Now, it appears there, Vernie slowed the car down and gave the position back to Parry, possibly intending to be let off his penalty, but sadly it doesn't work like that. It's too little too late, my friend. So Vernie's going to be bitten by that one, and I'm afraid. Nice thoughts from though. Nice sportsmanship, although, yeah. Anyway, still in the slipstream of Michael Parry. He is. And will probably serve this penalty in the next couple of laps. So now the closest fights on track, apart from that one, which is soon going to not be a fight anymore. Oh, little off there for GZ Tunsha, just running wide at turn 1. That's exactly what we saw Michael Fulcher doing a couple of laps ago. Again, very easy mistake to make. Everyone does it. Rejoins the track without any issues. Not really any other close fights going on the track at the minute. Although there's a bit more traffic than I expected there to be. I remember saying in the build-up that these drivers would not have to worry about traffic. It appears that they do to some extent. There are still 8 drivers on the lead lap, but we do have 4 drivers who are at least 1 lap down. And as a result, they're not all of the cars that you see together on track are fighting for position, and they need to be aware of that as well. Need to keep it in mind, and not be too much of an issue for chasing cars. So does Vernie serve his penalty this time around? Yes, he does. Well, he's been very sportsmanlike, you know, pulling over and letting Parry through. Okay, yeah, it's not exactly the conventional way of doing it, but I presume he just didn't know. Through the pits he goes. Tokarev goes through to 6th. Tancho, I don't think, will get through into 7th, so Vernie will still keep 7th. Tancho is 8th. And he is the last car in the lead lap. The next car back is Nico Berkeley, who's still leading by 16 seconds from Boa Milan. I am now completely sure that all of those drivers can go the full distance, or definitely intend to go the full distance, without making a scheduled pit stop. Hopefully this isn't going to be a situation like the one we got a couple of times in the GT3 Masters series, where they just suddenly will run out of fuel at the end. But well, I'm sure they've done their calculations. I'm sure they've done their practice races, their practice stints, and just made absolutely sure that they can do it. They wouldn't be trying if they didn't think they could. Milan took 7/10 of a second out of Berkeley there, but again, it appears to be too little too late, because he needs to be gaining over a second per minute now in order to catch up to Nico Berkeley. And that is very, very difficult to do, which goes without saying, really. Unless Nico Berkeley is to make a mistake in the late stages of the race, and I should assure you all that I am touching wood. Whether you're superstitious or not, I personally aren't, but I know a lot of racing drivers have their own little superstitions, their own little lucky charms, lucky rituals, things like that. Anyway, 14 minutes to go. We are properly into the late stages of the race now. We're over 3/4 of the way in. Berkeley is leading, followed by Milan, still 15 seconds in it. Milan is bringing the gap down, but again, too slowly. Michael Fulcher, 3rd place after taking the lead earlier on and then making a stop. Chris Shepard is 4th, Michael Parry is 5th, Vlad Tokarev is 6th, followed by Alessandro Vernie after that stop. That drive through. GZ Tunsha is the last car in the lead lap in 8th position, and off the lead lap but still running and doing a good job nonetheless. Nathan Mifsud, Andrea Rizzo, Alessio Spinelli, and Creature Masafra. So all of those 12 drivers still running in the race. 3 retirements. Sartori retired after penalties. Sartori retired after his engine caught fire. Titus and Hakkinen both retired after penalties. And into the pits comes Rizzo. So Andrea Rizzo not making it the full distance. Don't see any damage on his car. In fact, has he stopped in his box at all, or is this a drive-through? This could well be a drive-through for Andrea Rizzo. This is a circuit where you can pick up automatically generated drive-throughs by cutting the bus stop. Oh, he's been into the wall on the pit exit there. Another easy mistake to make, but a bit of an embarrassing one, touching the wall on pit exit. It was a light crash. I don't think he's going to have any damage. And of course, we saw an Aston Martin driver doing that at the Daytona 24-hour race at the weekend. That was it was an Aston Martin driven by Ross Gunn. But yeah, Rizzo doing the same thing. Just being lapped there by Vlad Tokarev. And resuming the race. So he was 10th when he came in. He's still 10th now. And still props to drivers for not giving up when they go a lap down. They may know that they don't really stand a chance of a podium or whatever happens, but it's good to see as many drivers finish as they can. I remember we've had World Pro Racing races in the past where over 10 drivers have started and everyone has finished, which is a wonderful sight to see. But I've also commentated races in the past where over 15 cars have started and only 2 have finished. So, yeah, that really shows you the resilience of some of these drivers. And it's all a bit of fun anyway. They're not going for championship positions. Meanwhile, into the pits, Michael Parry tried to make a stop and ran into a stopped car. Now, I'll tell you what's happened there. It's that for some reason, the cars in the pit lane are only showing up as shadows. And Parry saw the shadow on the ground, presumed that there was nothing there, and ran straight into the back of a stopped car. And that is not Parry's fault at all. That is simply the game. Not really. Is he going to do it again? No, he's not. Okay, phew. Didn't run into another car on the pit exit. Yeah, that's the game's fault there. That's not, that's not his fault. Interestingly, Andrea Rizzo appear to have had 4 drive-through penalties applied, and they've all been removed by the live steward. That's bizarre. Anyway, Rizzo still running in 10th place. Parry rejoins in 8th. He's lost places to Tokarev, Verny, and Toncho. So after the rollercoaster ride Tokarev's been on, he's going to be in 5th position now. Now, these drivers who are pitting this late, I can almost guarantee they did not intend to make their pit stops did not intend before the race started to be making a pit stop today, but just were keeping an eye on their fuel numbers or their tyre wear, and noticed that they had a problem. They weren't going to make it. Again, we're talking about easy mistakes to make. There are a lot of them at Daytona and in this car in general, but that's another one. Getting your fuel calculations slightly wrong, because of course you have traffic to consider, you have slipstream to consider. You don't know quite how many laps you're going to be doing because it's a 60-minute race. It's not a set number of laps. You could do 1 lap in that time if everyone was extremely, extremely slow for some bizarre reason. Or you could do an infinite number of laps if people were infinitely fast. So really it's all about calculations and estimated, or guesstimations rather. So 9 minutes now remaining in this race. This is the time where we have to be vigilant for cars ducking into the pits. People could still fail to make it. This race is still relatively unpredictable. The gap for the lead has come down by another 3 seconds, so Milan is really pushing. Obviously, he still thinks he can go to the end. Nico Barclay, possibly still fuel saving or tyre saving, losing time, but not losing time by as much as Milan would have hoped. Milan's only real hope now is if Barclay cannot make it to the end, if he needs to make a quick splash and dash pit stop in the final few laps in order to stop his car from spluttering to a halt. Barclay has traffic. That's Michael Parry. Parry about to become... Oh! And Barclay's DNF'd! Barkley is out of the race. I feel like I cursed him there. All of a sudden, Nico Barkley disappeared from the road. And after being in control of the race all the way through, Borja Milan is going to lead. And Nico Barkley has, well, he's off the server. He appeared to be off the server instantaneously. So I reckon he's had an internet malfunction. His internet has cut out or something. And that is a disaster for our race leader, Nico Barkley, who led the entire race, save for 5 laps, which are led by Michael Fulcher. He will be absolutely gutted. Andrea Rizzo is also in the pits again. But that is absolutely gutting. That puts Milan up to first, that puts Fulcher up to second, and that puts Chris Shepherd up into third position now as well. Commiserations to Nico Barkley. In my opinion, he deserved that win, but in sim racing, things like this happen sometimes. It's the equivalent of having a mechanical failure in a car in real life. And as a result, you also can't say that Milan won't deserve this win when he crosses. Milan will absolutely deserve this win, but again, that doesn't mean that Barkley doesn't deserve it too. It's just a shame that it can't and doesn't work that way. Tokarev elevated to 4th, Bernie to 5th. Those drivers didn't expect to be running that highly come the end of the race, but they've done a wonderful, consistent job. Bernie, of course, had a penalty. Tokarev did have a little half spin, or 2 half spins earlier on, but they've both recovered and been consistent since then. And they're going to take away good results from this, which I'm sure they will be happy with. What a disaster for Nico Barkley, goodness me. Now, come the end of this lap, I think... Actually, no, Mikhail Parry there. Oh no, sorry, I was just getting confused about where Parry was in relation to the leader, forgetting that last time I spoke about it, Nico Barkley was the leader. But Milan leads now by 6 seconds over Michael Fulcher. Now, I don't want to say anything else that might curse Milan, since Nico Barkley there went out in what we should call suspicious circumstances. Again, I'm not superstitious, but yeah, that was guttingly uncanny, you could say. So 7 cars now on the lead lap. Less than 5 minutes remaining before the checkered flag comes out. And Borja Milan has a 6.2 second lead as they cross the start-finish line that last time around. Spinelli on a recovery drive appears to be about to unlap himself, maybe, to someone. That's Mikhail Parry there, who's a lap ahead of him. Of course, that's not going to make much of a difference in terms of the order unless Spinelli can catch Mifsud in the late stages, but Spinelli's going for it anyway, going high. I expect that Parry won't defend that hard. In fact, I think Parry backed off slightly there, just to make sure they wouldn't be going side by side into the bus stop, and that is wisely done. And I don't think there's much of a chance of Spinelli catching Mifsud here, since Mifsud is almost an entire lap ahead. So really, he'd need Mifsud to retire in order to get any higher than the position he is currently in. Less than 4 minutes remaining in the race. It's been an exciting one, it's been an unpredictable one, it's been a gutting one at times, heart-wrenching you could say. We've had 4 retirements. Slight off there from Masafra, nothing major. But it will... Oh, and Tancho, I think, has run out of fuel. So Tancho, who was on his way to 6th position, has ground to a halt. I reckon he wasn't watching his fuel numbers there. And he's going to be our 5th retirement late on in the race. I knew it would happen to at least one person. Hopefully it doesn't happen to any more. I presume that was fuel anyway. Haven't had confirmation, but when you see a car pulling off this late in the race, yeah, indeed it was fuel. He was absolutely out. His fuel tank was empty. Emptier than Ferrari's belly, if you know that story. But anyway. And that puts Nathan Mifsud up to 7th place. Spinelli will get 8th in the end. Ritzer will be 9th. Musafir will be 10th at this rate. Musafir, ooh, big lockup going over the grass. Did well to hold that. Kicked up a face full of mud for Spinelli. And we're approaching fast the final lap of the race. It may well be the next lap. This next lap, I think, is going to be the final lap. I'll watch the timer as they cross the line. When the line crosses the line now, when does it tick to 1 minute remaining? Meanwhile, the Musafir, oh, that was just Musafir letting Spinelli past. So Milan has two cars to lap now on different laps on this final lap. But that's okay for him because at least they're not fighting. That would make it even tougher. And this will indeed be the final lap of the race. The gap for the lead 5 seconds, so it has come down. But Fortune will have to settle for second in this. Milan will have to make sure he gets through the traffic safely. Musafir running wide. Musafir actually missing a piece of bodywork on the rear, is he? No, actually, I don't think he is. Just the car. My apologies. Oh no, he is missing a piece of bodywork there. Pretty sure he is. Yeah, he is. Okay, so he's had a slight incident somewhere. Boy, Milan just has 5 corners to go now. The 4 corners that make up the bus stop, and then the final corner. You'd know it is turn 4 if you're a NASCAR fan. The checkered flag is ready and waiting. Milan cutting the corners slightly, taking risks, even on the final lap of the race. He's got a racer's spirit, has Borja. He's a GPWC ace. And an rFactor 2 veteran. And he's now going to become a World Pro Racing winner as well. Across the start-finish line he goes. Well, Milan has done it after 1 hour and 30 seconds of racing. Michael Fulcher is second. The gap for the lead was 4.5 seconds. It wasn't a huge margin, especially for a 1 hour race, but Milan definitely had control of the race there. Chris Shepherd is going to be, well, sorry, I should say Milan had control of the race in the late stages. No disrespect to Nico Barclay. Chris Shepherd is going to finish third. Crosses the line in just a few seconds' time. There he goes, third place. Vlad Tokarev will be 4th. Alessandro Verni will be 5th. Nicole Parry 6th. Nathan Mifsud 7th. Then it's Alessio Spinelli, who had his little Spinelli earlier on in the race. Andrea Rizzo 8th. Giza Tancho will be classified as 10th position, despite the fact he retired and ran out of fuel, because Koricho Musafir wasn't able to pass the spot where he retired, so Musafir will be classified 11th. No retirements. Well, Barclay, Satori, Titus, and Hakkinen just got a few more cars to cross the line now. Verni in 5th, and Spinelli in 8th. Those are 2 drivers who... Verni is going to be on the lead lap of the race, but only just. Spinelli is a lap down. Verni about to cross the line. He's done a great job. Feel pretty gutted for him about that penalty earlier on, because clearly he didn't quite know how the penalties work. But anyway, Spinelli crossing the line in 8th. And that's the lot here from Daytona. So, not sure if we're going to have interviews, or whether we're going to go straight to adverts. If we can have, I believe we are going for interviews, since we do tend to just have to wait for a few people to be ready for that, to cool down after that 1 hour long race. It was a long one. It was a hard one. And it was Boy Milan who came out on top, but you have to feel so sorry for goodness. I've literally just forgotten his name. Anyway, into the room has come Michael Fulcher, who finished second place in that race, and was one of the most consistent and quickest drivers all the way through. I think he also claimed fastest lap, although lost out on a chance to win due to making one more pit stop than any of the other front runners. Michael, how did that look from your point of view?
Hello.
Yeah,
Well, I had my starting grid position. I might would have won, but because I had some bug with the livery during qualification, I had to swap the car during the warm-up, and then I started last. And from there, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. Great organization, a lot of respect on track. I liked a bit of tire life on the front left tires at the end to get closer to Borja, but we know him, he's super fast and super good guy. It's a shame for Nico, I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, Monaco was once again very strong.
Did you know right from the start of the race that some drivers would be able to do the full thing without pitting?
Well, I made my own calculation in practice, and to me, yeah, it could have been faster over the race, but it was a lot less fun do it without a pit stop. So yeah, I prefer on that kind of fun event.
That is a wonderful attitude to have, especially for a casual event. Just do whatever lets you have the most fun, and it almost worked out for you as well. You were less than 5 seconds off the leader in a 1 hour race, so really not bad there. But anyway, how have you enjoyed this event, and will you be back?
Of course, yes, that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys once again. I hope to be back next time.
Fantastic, great to speak to you, and we will see you later. Also, yeah, sorry. Also, a quick apology to Nico Barkley there for forgetting his name at the end. I don't know how I could have forgot it. He was leading for so long. I suppose it's because we didn't see much of him until then. But anyway, moving on now to our race winner, and fantastically so, Borja Milan. Hello, Borja.
Hello.
So, Borja, you won the race. You wouldn't have expected to for a long portion of the that race. The start was tricky. Talk us through that first and foremost.
Well, I was struggling a lot the first laps with the FPS, because in the night it was horrible. So the first laps I was so slow. That's why I lost a lot. But then, yeah, anyway, Nico should win it. Anyway.
Well, anyway, yeah, it was disappointing what happened to Nico. Just a quick disconnection happens to all of us, but you drove so well today, very consistently, and had to make your way through the order in the opening stages as well. What did you know? Okay, I'll ask you the same question that I asked Michael, but from a different point of view. Did you know right from the start of the race that you would be able to do the full thing without stopping, or were there any worries at any point?
Well, it was not completely clear, but yeah, like 80% we knew that we could do it.
Well, it worked out for you, and you took that P1 spot. How did the car feel, and what did it take to get to grips with it?
Well, as I say, the first laps it was horrible, but then it was improving a bit, and I could be consistent the last laps. But yeah, first laps I lost a lot.
And will you be back?
Yeah, for sure. If I like the mod and the track, which honestly I didn't like this track. Well, I like the track, but not this mod.
Fair enough. Anyway, thank you for speaking to us, Borja, and congrats on your wonderful race victory. So that's a lot from us today. Again, we would like to thank everyone that makes it happen for us. All of our sponsors, which you see on the thumbnail of this stream and this video if you're watching it later. Also, thank you very much to Justin Mifsud, our race organizer, to Adrian Vigallo, who is on the stewarding team and is also one of the organisers of World Pro Racing, and George Muscat as well, our race steward. Thank you to all of them, as well as every driver who showed up here today to race, all 15 of them, and especially well done to all 10 who finished and all 11 who were classified. So anyway, great event. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back in a not entirely sure how long, but we will be back before too long with some more World Pro Racing action. See you all later.
I know you've got a secret like a child, you wanna keep it, but your shiny eyes reveal the simple truth.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.